So, okay, Lawrence, today we are going to discuss the learning outcome 3, which is to be able to create a web-based solution to a business problem. Yeah? So that includes the construct of, for example, the assessment criteria will be construct a web-based solution to a business, integrate e-marketing techniques into the web-based solution, create a backend database to interact with the web-based solution, integrate multimedia techniques in the web-based solution, integrate web services in the web-based solution. Yeah. So normally we will be discussing like a web page development, web interface design, accessibility issues, usability issues, e-marketing like SEO, then backend development in WEM, PHP, MySQL, and possibly integrating multimedia, and then using the web services specification and these things. These are kind of an advanced topic, but we will give it an idea that what the web services are and how they needs to be implemented. Yeah. Okay, so we assume that you have to develop a web-based solution to your business problem. Okay, then what you need to select a kind of programming language first. A web development refers to building a website and deploying on the web. So you created a website, you deployed on the web server on the web so that it should be accessible over the internet. The web development requires use of scripting language both at the server end as well as at the client end. So scripting languages are the web based languages. Either they can run on the server or client. Probably you remember that we discussed last time the JavaScript. Yeah. So when you say an script, it means a piece of code. When it is runs on the server, that would be a server-side script, and when it runs on the client, then it would be a client-side script. So before developing a website, one should keep several aspects in mind, like what do you put on the website. So it is most important to know that what do you want to put on the website, who will host it. Like, do you have an idea that what will be the hosting? The hosting. Do you have an idea of hosting?
Web hosting?
Yeah.
Yes. I know about. I heard about it, but I've not been doing web hosting anyway.
Okay. So the web hosting is that a server which will be holding your website, where your website will be stored over there, and every time you access your website through the URL, then the domain name services will take your request to that particular server. So you need to know that what you want to do your website and where you will host it, how to make it interactive, how to code it, how to create search engine friendly website, how to secure the source code frequently, will the website design display well in different browsers, will the navigation menus be easy to use, will the website loads quickly, how easily will the site pages print, how easily will visitors find important details specific to the website, how effectively the style sheets be used on your website. Is it clear? Yeah. So see.
Hello? Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. So see, it's not very easy to say that, okay, I'm going to create a website and I have created a website. Okay. But you need to answer these questions at all if it is a kind of professional website. If you can answer each and every question, then you have done very well. Otherwise, you will have a kind of, very basic or learner website, which will not give you the intended purpose. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so probably the web development, when you would be using the client side coding, then the client if you remember, the client side coding is the coding that directly runs at the client. It doesn't need to be approved from the server, like Ajax, Flash, JavaScript, jQuery, Microsoft Silverlight, HTML5 and CSS3. They are the client side coding. Like the server side coding is ASP, Cold Fusion, CGI, PHP, Python, Ruby, Java, .NET. Client server side, both of them, maybe the coding could be done into Google Web Toolkit, Dart, OPA, Terraces. Can I ask, have you done any programming language so far?
Programming? No, the one we programming? No.
Like C, C++, Java?
Java, no.
Are you sure?
No, I have not done C++ and Java.
Neither by yourself nor in your level 4 IT.
On the level 4, what I did in level 4 were
Can you bring your mic closer, please?
the mic?
Yeah, your voice is looks like this a little bit away.
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay, I have not had a hands-on C++ and Java.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But I've read about them.
No, I mean, have you done that programming before?
No.
Then was there any module into it?
Can you say that again?
I mean, there were no any module unit into your level 4.
Okay, the level 4 units I did before were computer solutions, and I did information systems in organization, and I also did I think networking.
I know, yeah, but no any programming language like a C, C++, Java.
No, it was not at the time I complete all the modules.
Okay, that's fine. Normally one should know, the programming language, and then you can do, the further web development or any other, like similar, things. Okay, no worries. So before you develop any web page, you should be able to answer these questions. We move further. The web development process would start with deciding the purpose. You need to plan then design the layout of the website, then gather content, what contents you need to put into it, then build the website, then test whether the links are working fine or not, then upload to the server. Once after uploading the server, you need to market it and carry out the maintenance if required. Yeah, is it clear?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, so web interface design. The user interface design requires a good understanding of the user needs. So if you don't know that what the users needed, then you cannot create a good user interface. So there are several phases and processes in the user interface design, some of which are more demanded upon than others depending on the project. So functionality requirement gathering is important. How assembling a list of functionality required by the system to accomplish the goal of the project and the potential needs of the user. So your user interface design, if you want to create a user interface design for your website, then it is important that you should know the functionality, what functionality is required to the users. If you don't know that how functional the website they want, then it will not be a good user interface for the intended purpose. Then User and task analysis, a form of field research, is the analysis of the potential users of the system by studying how they perform the task that the design must support, and conducting interviews to elucidate their goals. Typical questions involved. So the user and task analysis, like that you, for example, you don't assume that every user will know how to use the website. Have you heard ever that most of the people say like, oh, I am not able to use this website very well. I have a difficulty in filling up the form and something like that. Have you heard about it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that is depending on the user and the task analysis, that how users, the potential users of the system, will perform these tasks. If you now would not analyze their task activities, then your user interface will not be efficient as much as required. Make sense?
Yeah.
So normally the questions can be, what would the user want the system to do? For example, if the user wants to fill the form, then they may be given a kind of clear navigation to the forms, but not the case that there are many more banners and the form links and other things are in very small letters. Yeah. How would the system fit in with the user's normal workflow or daily activities? How technically savvy is the user? How technically sound is the user? And what similar system does the user already uses? It is important that for whom you want to create your system, and whether they can be the expert user, the normal users or not. What interface look and feel styles appeal to the user. So maybe the kids might be attracted with the animations, a kind of like a young generation might be have a different choice, the old people may have a different choice. So really depends that your user interface should be designed according to the intended audience. Yeah. Then information architecture, where the web interface is continued, the development of the process and our information flow of the system. So how the information within the website will be carried out, it is most important, that in which architecture your information would be placed over there. Then prototyping, the development of wireframes, either in the form of paper prototypes or simple interactive screens. These prototypes are stripped of all look and feel elements and most content in order to concentrate on the interface. So when you talk about the user interface, you come up with a prototyping. Create a simple prototype, like maybe in the form of screenshots or maybe a small number of pages, so that you can have an idea that how the user interface looks like. It shouldn't be the case that you create the whole website and somebody doesn't like the user interface and you need to recreate the whole website again. So prototyping is helpful in this way. Then usability inspection, letting an evaluator inspect a user interface. So it's not the case that only you like the user interface, but let the user use the interface and evaluate it, judge the user interface. This is generally considered to be cheaper to implement than the usability testing. So usability testing sometimes is more expensive than the implementing a kind of user interface, and can be used in early on in development process, since it can be used to evaluate prototypes or specification for the system. So usability, whether it is useful or not, it should be done in the advance. Make sense? It shouldn't be done in the last, so that it could not be changed. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Usability testing. Usability testing is basically the testing of the prototypes on actual user. often using a technique called think aloud protocol, where you ask the user to talk about their thoughts during the experience. So think aloud protocol is basically, that talk, you tell your thoughts during experience. For example, okay, the user is reading like, okay, I want to fill the form, okay, let me fill in the field. So where is the next button? Okay, here is the next button. Then when you click the next button, then I wait for a kind of dialogue. Let's say that, okay, your file has been submitted and blah blah blah. So while testing, the a kind of commentary should be done. Yeah, the commentary should be done so that a kind of usability testing should be interactive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the user interface design testing allows the designer to understand the reception of the design from the viewer's standpoint, how it looks like to the user, and thus facilitates creating successful applications. It shouldn't be the case that you as a developer created a web design and said, okay, this is final. No, you show the user interface to your clients or for whom you create it, and then they should give you a feedback than what they want. Then graphical user interface design is itself actual look and feel design of final graphical user interface. It may be based on the findings developed during the user research and refined to fix any usability problems found through the resulting results of testing. So finally, what you get a graphical user interface design. How you get it? You pass through the certain usability testing, user interface design testing, and then finally you get the graphical user interface of your website. So these things are important to consider while web interface of your application or website. Yeah.
Yeah.
So see, it is most important that these concerns should be addressed. If you don't, then at the end, let's say for example, if you created the website for 10 people and if you didn't show them, then maybe, let's say, probably they might like, everyone might like it, but the chances could be that everyone may have their own suggestions and you won't be able to produce them a kind of the optimized web interface design. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now we talk about the accessibility issues. Suppose you created a user interface and then you have an option to see whether there are any issues. Yeah, to know whether there are any issues, then let us see that what issues can be while accessing the system. Let us see what is the accessibility or web accessibility. Web accessibility refers to the inclusive practice of removing barriers that prevent interaction with or access to websites by people with disabilities. When sites are correctly designed, developed, and edited, all users must have equal access to information and functionality. So it's not only the case that, for example, any disabled people's disability is not only the, let's say, kind of physical disability, but a kind of mental approach. Yeah, if somebody is good at understanding the let's say interaction, navigation of the websites, then they are well, but somebody may not be good enough, yeah, to go through. So it should address the accessibility should be very well to normal people as well as to disabled people. Make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So these accessibility issues include, for example, one of the major accessibility issues can be the size of the font. Yeah, if that particular page has a very small font, do you think that it will be good for everyone?
No.
No. Okay, so let's say visible focus. Web browsers need to show users which elements of the site has focus, be it a link, an image, a form, or some other element. So in a browser, each and every element of the site should have some focus that should be in the form of link. An image should be clickable, or any other element whatsoever is, it should have a visibility over there. If you assume, okay, let's see that if you created a submit button very small, do you think that everyone will be able to process very well?
Not at all.
Not at all. So visibility focus should be there. Then alternative text for images. Do you know the alternative text for images?
Yeah, I think where you use images to replace text, so that the images are clicked and then.
Oh, sometimes you hover the images and you read some text along the picture. Have you noticed?
Yes.
Alt text. So that is called the alt text. For example, I'm hovering here, then probably around the any image, for example, Google. Can you see the celebrating the garden genome? I have put the mouse on Google and see the text is coming. Are you able to see the text?
Yeah.
So that is the alt text. For every image you provide, for every image that you provide the alt text. This is called the alternative text for images. So that's about that's the alternative text for images. Is it clear? Yeah. CAPTCHA. Websites often use the CAPTCHA to ensure the security of customer transactions and user registrations. However, they are generally regarded as inaccessible to users with disabilities due to the difficulty of accurately perceiving and hearing letters and numbers. So CAPTCHA, most of the time, what happens, the website are being accessed by the softwares. So such certain websites, those which can be affected by the software hackers, so what they do, they introduce the CAPTCHA. Have you ever used the CAPTCHA? Have you ever used the CAPTCHA? Hello? Okay, probably your connection is dropped. So I continue, and you will be able to join me again, and you can always read the recordings, get the recordings. So CAPTCHA is basically in order to enhance the security and to make sure that the website is not accessed by any software or robot. The CAPTCHA allows you to enter and read the image from the particular read the particular characters from the image, so that you put into the text and they verify that the text entered is read from the image. Yeah. So are you able to listen to me now?
Yeah, I'm able to listen.
Okay. So alternative text was clear. CAPTCHA is used to ensure the security of the web page, but sometimes it is difficult to read the CAPTCHA. Have you ever experienced this? Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Have you ever used the CAPTCHA?
Yes, I've used the CAPTCHA.
Yeah. So CAPTCHA is good, but it has is good for the security. Yeah. But it has an issue that it is difficult to understand. It's not good for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, regarding the accessibility issues, some of the W3C checklist. W3C is the World Wide Web Consortium checklist of checkpoints for web content accessibility guidelines to avoid the accessibility issues. What they say that does the keyboard provide access to navigation, in particular the tab, arrow, and enter keys without the use of the mouse. So your website, their recommendation is, even if you don't have any of the mouse, your website should have navigation using the mouse and the arrow keys. Make sense?
Yeah.
Using the keyboard for navigation, does the cursor move in a logical flow or order? So it shouldn't be the case that you are able to use the keyboard, but the mouse is jumping randomly. Your cursor is jumping randomly. It shouldn't be the case. Do all elements like links, radio button, text boxes, drop-down menus work when selected? Does the link text explain and provide context? Is alt text provided for all non-text elements? So what is the alt text? Alt text is the alternative text message we discussed for the image. I shown you for the Google as well.
Yes.
Is it clear now? So make sure that whichever the element is non-text, then it should have some alt text. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or captions provided for the multimedia element. So whatever the multimedia element is, for example, any picture, video, or any sound, then have you provided any caption to it or not? Is the web page organized such that it is readable without the use of an associated style sheet? So style sheet is basically that certain kind of fonts are applied to the whole web page. So it is, before you apply one font, a scheme of the font to the page, your page itself should be readable. Your page should be readable no matter if you apply some style sheet or not. Okay?
Yeah.
Do you know what is the style sheet?
The style sheet?
Yeah.
Not too sure.
Okay. Basically, when you create an HTML document, then in the text, you define the colors and size of the text and font of the text. But when you really want to apply the kind of similar font and the style to all of the page, then you do it through the style sheet. You create a separate file and integrate with the style sheet.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably they need a kind of practical approaches to these. But if you think that if as I explained, what is the style sheet, it is used to apply the fonts. But if you have any further need any further information about it, you can always do Google or the YouTube. You will get it very clear things. Yeah, these are very basic things. Yeah. Are the color elements that cannot be identified? Is there any color which is very difficult Identify all data tables coded with the column, headings and row names in the scope. So the tables, whatever you created, they should have some, headings. Does the web page have frames? If there is a timed response, are users prompted to request more time? And electronic form elements organized in logical tab order and label. So, for example, if you have a form to fill in, then if are the fields in logical order and do they work by providing the tab, from the keyboard, and do they work well or not? So these are kind of some recommendations from W3C in order to avoid any accessibility issues. Are they good enough?
Yeah.
So see, when somebody say, okay, I'm the web developer, for example, they created, web page, but it is not very easy to say that they have done their best of best efforts until they don't, if they don't follow these, certain recommendations, then they are incomplete, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, usability issues. Now, earlier we discussed the accessibility issues. Yeah, that the more you make your web page accessible, you will have good advantage. Now we talk about the usability issues. There are certain 8 usability issues you should be aware of, like don't use pop-ups. Pop-ups are the small windows, they pop up at different times in a browser, and they are very annoying. Yeah. Don't change users window size. Also, if sometimes the window sizes are in a very different sizes, like a chat, when you are chatting someone, then probably you get a smaller size of the window. So it is also not recommended. You try to have a kind of all window sizes similar and same. Otherwise they will make a difficulty in using, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't use too small font sizes. Obviously, too small font sizes would look good in your web page, but obviously they will not be readable, for everyone. They would not be readable very well for everyone. Don't have unclear link text. So sometimes what happens, there are such very small text links, and they said to click on it, but if it is clear and bold enough and a bigger font size, then it is more good than the very small and unclear link text, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't have a dead links, like you just provided too many links, and most of the time the visitors try to click on those links, and those were the dead ends, and they are not good at all. Yeah, have at most one animation per page. So you do not try to put many animations in one page. The user will be distracted, their attention will be removed from the actual Then make it easy to contact you. Maybe because you just don't want to be contacted, but if visitors do want to get in touch with you, but you can't find any contact information, you lose their interest and trust. Disastrous for online shopping, missed opportunity for the rest. So in your website, if you are unable to provide, for example, the contact information, then you provide a kind of contact form for your users. Yeah. So make it easy to contact you. So how it will be easy? You provide a phone number, probably you provide the contact form. That is much more good for them. Yeah. Links open in the same window. It shouldn't be the case that when there is a link and when you click and the next page shouldn't open in the new window, but it should open in the same window. You should have some kind of mechanism that it should look like. For example, that the same page should have the different content, but the menus at the top should remain same. Yeah, so these are kind of the recommendations that in order to avoid any issues with the usability, you should look at them and follow these suggestions. Are they good enough?
No.
No. I mean, these suggestions are helpful.
Okay, yeah, they are good.
Yeah, so they are good, and they should be, used. Otherwise, you will not have a good usability.
Sure.
Now, next topic is identifying suitable SEO strategies. Do you know something about the SEO, search engine optimization? Do you know about it?
Search engine optimization.
Yeah, do you know about it?
Yeah, I think we talked about search engine optimization. Yes.
Okay, so if you want your website, the visibility of your website in the search engine, then you need to optimize your website. So search engine optimization is a methodology of strategies, techniques and tactics used to increase the amount of visitors to a website by obtaining a higher ranking placement in the search results page of a search engine, including Google, Bing, Yahoo and other search engines. So what are the steps to identify suitable SEO strategies? Step 1 is define your target audience and their interest. So if you know that who is your intended audience and what are their interests, that is the first step towards the search engine optimization. If you know their interest, then you can put the useful information for them. If you don't know that what are their interests, then you are not good at that. The first step in most marketing campaigns, search marketing including, is to start by defining your target audience. Your target audience is defined set of people who you are marketing your product to. Traditionally, defining target audience involves determining their age, sex, geographic location, and especially their needs, isn't it?
Yes.
You cannot sell the female, makeup cosmetics to males. Can you?
No.
No. So you should be very much clear that to whom you are selling your product. Then the next step is categorize the keyword research. The keywords is basically that against what keyword your content should match. Your content should match. For example, if you are a doctor, then somebody when they types, the drugs, skincare, health, body, health, etc., then your website should have some relation with these keywords. And against these keywords, your search engine optimizes and ranks your web page. Are you aware about the the keyword search?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the next term is the search volume, is how much a specific keyword is searched by user monthly, weekly or daily, and such information can be provided through Google using Google AdWords. So you should be able to know that how much is the search volume for that particular keyword. So these are basically, we are going into the details of the SEO. So you know your audience. In the second page, you know your keywords. You should know your search volume, that how much is the search value of your keyword overall in the search engine. Then you can, for example, the search volume of your keyword is common. For example, when they say makeup, then probably, thousands of the websites would be similar to the makeup. Yeah. But if somebody says the Lawrence product, yeah, the Lawrence product will only be, let's say, one or two websites that the people will have in search. Yeah. So keywords matters, and their search volume is matters. Yeah. Then finding gaps and opportunities. Gaps are areas where there is a content on the site for a term, but referral volume is very low. So that's a gap, especially compared to search engine volume. Opportunities are areas where there is a significant search volume for the something relevant to your target market and what your company is offering, but there is no content on site to attract those searchers. So there could be a possibility that you have lots of information, but your content is not visible by that particular the keyword. However, you have the lots of keywords, yeah, but you don't have any content for the search engine to go. And obviously, how the keywords are defined, they are basically defined into the title of the web page. When you write the HTML, and then in HTML, some of the data that is seen on the web page, but some of the titles, like let's say for example, if you see, BBC News is written on the top. Yeah. Can you see the tab?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm seeing it.
Yeah. So these are basically, that is the title of the web page, and the Google sometimes reads from the title. So the keywords are used into these titles. So probably you would know more in detail when you would really write a kind of HTML page, and you are going to explicitly mention the keywords. So that is the technique behind, and probably you can try this, and if there will be any topic into the discussion, then we will go through. Okay. Define competitors. The search and detect other websites that offer or provide the same service or product as you do. It's good to know your competitors. Also, spying on and learning from your competitors and see how they market and how they gain the traffic, how they advertise their products. This also kind of the strategy. Make sense? So your competitors. You also know that how do they market. Yeah. You try to spy on them. Yeah. So that's a strategy. Unfortunately you will have to do it. That how others do. Yeah. Now, techniques. SEO techniques involve audit your site framework, that whether it is good or not. Data research via end user value. Create more optimized landing page. Your first page should be very much optimized. It should have more and more information. Make your site responsive and mobile friendly. Double your infographic power. Infographic is basically that anything which is the content is basically in the information as well as in the graphical representation. So it should be much more infographic. Yeah. Implement latent semantic indexing. Latent semantic indexing is basically to leave any semantics, like explain in more semantics, more and more with every index of your page. Yeah. Spy and target competitors' live keywords. Leverage authoritative social platforms. So usage of social platforms is much more good deep linking to internal pages. Your pages should be linked deeply. Refresh your archive pages. Archive pages, like, you know, when you update any new content, then it should be refreshed very quickly. Yeah, these were the techniques. Then now we come to the e-marketing tools and techniques. The content marketing technique is basically the storytelling for your brand. The content can be virtually anything with a clear message, a series of attention-grabbing images, video, blog posts, or news items. So, what are the tools for the e-marketing? You write the content for your product. Okay. Then you use the social networking in order to promote your product. That's a technique. Another technique. Then mobile support. Your application, your website should be good enough so that it should be capable to run on the smartphone, tablets, and it should be a kind of very responsive website even on the phones. That's a technique. Yeah. Retargeting. One of the most interesting new marketing technique is the retargeting or remarketing tracks customers through cookie placement and continues to show them ads for products they have viewed in past across the network of websites. For example, what is remarketing? Basically, what happens? Sometimes I search on the eBay to buy some items, yeah, and when I don't buy those and just I view, then what happens? After some time in the Facebook or in different websites, Google gives me those, you know, kind of sponsor advertise which I was interested in.
Okay.
Do you agree with this?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is retargeting. They are targeting you and you know, they are targeting and targeting. You know, that every time, you know, they are trying to make you convinced to buy the product. So naughty, isn't it? Yeah. Then backlinking. Backlinking is basically, you know, the your website should have kind of the link of your website should be spread into many websites. If you have a good backlinking, then you have a good e-marketing technique. Make sense? Yeah. If your website is not backlinking to any other website, it means it's not popular. What happens when people, they assure you that okay, they are going to make the ranking of your website high, then what they do, basically they improve the content of your website, they introduce the keywords into their pages, and then what they do, they copy and paste your link into different forums, into different blogs, so that Google should know that this is not the common website, but it's going to get popularity into different forums as well. Then why not give a kind of, you know, score to that particular website into the search? Make sense?
Yeah.
So backlinking, the more backlinking you have, your website has much and more power. Yeah. Now, server-side scripting is a technique used in web development which involves implying scripts on a web server which produces a response customized for each user's client request to the website. Do you remember the server-side programming?
Yeah.
So what happens in the server-side programming? The code runs at the server against each request of the client. Yeah. So the alternative is for web server itself to deliver a static page. A script can be written in any of the number of server-side scripting languages as well. Okay, how? So the server can give you a dynamic. Let's say you entered your name Lawrence, then the server can manipulate. Let's say, hello Lawrence, how are you? Okay. That would be a dynamic server-side scripting, or against that page, it can give you only hello, how are you? That would be a kind of static page. So both are possible. Yeah. So server-side scripting is distinguished from client-side scripting, where embedded scripts such as JavaScripts run at client-side. So client-side script, JavaScript runs on the browser. It doesn't need to send to the server. However, the server-side script runs where? On the server. When you enter the, let's say, Google, then the page is coming from Google. Okay?
Yeah.
Is it really clear, or any confusion in server-side scripting and client-side scripting? Are you very clear about the server-side scripting or not?
And I'm okay with it. I'm true.
Okay, so what is the client-side scripting then?
The client-side scripting is the opposite of the server-side, because on this client side, the scripts are embedded on the client application.
For example,
on the client side scripting.
For example, if you are filling up a form, yeah, and you are entering, the wrong data into a particular field. For example, in the name field, you are putting like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So the client-side script will execute on the client before sending to the server that enter a name instead of numbers. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
So that is the client-side scripting. Yeah. Now, so the server-side development is basically, there are many server-side languages, and they use a kind of the server itself, and they can use and they can access the database and using any APIs, application programming interfaces. So the popular server-side languages are the PHP. Okay. The PHP, the example websites are, let's say, the WordPress, Wikipedia, Facebook. It is designed into the PHP. Okay. Next is Python. Python is also a server-side programming language, like a YouTube, Google, and Washington Post that's made in the Python. Okay. I'm skipping the text because we are running the time. We have we are about to finish 1 hour, but you can whenever needed, we can go into the detail. That's the only name, but the names are sufficient. We can mention here. So quickly, Ruby. Okay, Ruby is also kind of server-side programming. C# is a Microsoft.NET framework. It's a one kind of it's also a one. The server-side language. So you have a variety, as well as C++. C++ is very powerful, language. Java is also a, the server-side programming language. Erlang is also kind of a programming language for the server side. So after deciding if we catch up the things now, we started with, let's say, we should have an aim of creating a web page. Then we need to select a kind of programming, web programming, or which server programming we will be using. We need to focus on the web interface, how it should look like. It shouldn't have any accessibility issues. It shouldn't have any usability issues. Your web page should be done the SEO using the certain strategies and techniques. Then you need to market your website, and then you really need to code your website into kind of server-side scripting. And what are those? The popular website, the server-side scripting: PHP, Python, Ruby, Java, C#, and these things. Have you heard about those programming languages before?
About what?
These programming languages, like a server-side programming languages.
Yeah, I have. I've heard about them.
Yeah, so these are basically PHP, Python, Ruby, C++ is a server-side programming. But when it says C language, then it is not the server-side programming. Yeah. Okay. So basically, that's you cannot directly jump into any server-side programming, but you should start with one programming language first, like a C language. Then any general programming language, you should be able to create your program, like adding two numbers. Okay, you created a program. Then how did you create? You created variables. You compile the program. You run the program, and there's a kind of slow and gradual the start. It should have been good that you would have done any programming language initially, but still you can do the programming, the server-side programming, and you can, on your own interest, you can start with anyone.
Okay.
Yeah. So we end this session today, and we will continue from the back-end design next week, and hopefully we will be able to finish this unit in by next 2 lessons. Yeah, and then you will have an opportunity to look at your assignment, and I would advise you, highly recommend you to start the assignment work for your previous 2 units as soon as possible.
Okay, that's the networking and the
database design.
Database design. Yeah? Okay.
Send your work as soon as possible. Don't be scared. Whatever you write, you will be given the feedback that how you are doing and how you need to do it. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
And again, I want to ask. I don't know the database design. Is there any tool that you recommend for just maybe for the design, making like you want to draw the relationships, the entity relationship diagrams? Is there a tool that you could recommend that you?
Yeah, Microsoft Visio.
Microsoft Visio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope that you should have access to the Microsoft Office, as well as you can install the Microsoft Visio, and you can design every diagram into it.
Okay.
Okay, so you try it, and but don't waste time on even for example on any tool. You come up with your pen and pencil, on paper. You write the description on the computer, and draw the diagrams on the paper, and so quickly, so that you can produce the output. No matter in the first initial draft, if you take the photo of those pictures made by pen, and send it,
okay.
It will.
Okay. Now I get it. All right.
Yeah. Okay. So I would see you next week then. Yeah.
All right.
All right then. Thank you very much. And I would, can you send me an email for a reminder that I would send you the recording of these 2 sessions, today's one and yesterday's one. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So that would be linked to our recording, and on the Moodle there is another recording as well that you can access it.
All right.
All right. So let me double confirm with the the Mr. Raman, the director. Probably I should link to our class in the Moodle as well.
Okay.
It's very easy to put the links, for example, have you seen the other links?
The links on the platform?
No, yeah, in the learning, Moodle, there is a link to recordings.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've gone to the recordings. I've also gone to the PowerPoint documents that were there too.
PowerPoint documents and the recording. So what I will need to do, I will put today's session recording as well. I think there is already one recording, but probably I would put your name, I'm not sure, so that whatever the discussions we made today, you will have a repetition as well.
Okay.
All right then. Okay then, bye.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.